Hi, and welcome back to Riley's on the Road. I'm Ashlyn,
And I'm Melina.
and we're reporting to you from Jasper National Park, Canada,
We've driven 1,300 miles
or 2,050 kilometers.
in the last week.
Let's check out what happened.
Yep, we're back. As many of you know, last summer in 2025, we built a house in Cheyenne, Wyoming, and some of you may have thought that was the end of us traveling. But nope, this summer we are headed to Alaska for 5 months, going up through Canada with our RV. One of the biggest blessings of this trip is the group we get to travel with. We have 4 other families to explore Alaska with, and it's incredible to have a little community while moving. We departed from Wyoming on June 3rd and went straight up to cross into Canada through Montana, taking 3 days to get there. One fact to note is that throughout Canada, our larger group split up quite often, but we did continuously stay with the Kleins. When we got to the Alberta border crossing, we declared a firearm, but since we were taking more than 3 days to get through Canada, we were denied entry and had to spend a couple hours shipping the gun back to our house. We did finally get through though, and on the way to our next overnight stop, we stopped at a Canadian Costco, which had some cool different options. We parked for our first night in Canada at a water park with our V-Spots.
After that one-night stop, we got on our way to the Canadian National Park Jasper. The coolest thing was driving all the way through Banff National Park. With stunning views the whole way, including a waterfall pit stop, this drive was one of our most scenic. We stayed at a campground just outside Jasper with our friends for 3 nights. Going up north means it stays lighter, later, and later, which is very convenient for dads who work all day. We went to the Valley of the 5 Lakes for an after-dinner hike the first full day we were there. It was a little over 3 miles and included the view of 5 lakes. The 5th lake was the perfect mountain scene, but the 4th lake might have been the prettiest, turquoise and crystal clear. Once we had walked around the loop back to the first lake, we had the most exciting encounter: 4 fox pups. One of the most rewarding parts about traveling is slowing down for these moments. We paused our hike to watch these little babies play in their natural habitat. These experiences are magical and turn into some of our favorites. After some of us had moved on and the crowd died down, one of the foxes got brave enough to approach the couple of us who had waited a little longer. When the pup got within 15 feet, we moved on to keep the wildlife wild. After the hike, we headed into the town of Jasper to get ice cream with the crew. Our second day in Jasper, we visited Miette Hot Springs to swim in the warm water. In the parking lot, we saw a mama black bear and her 2 cubs. Later, they had climbed up a tree, and we could see them while relaxing in the pools. Elk were a very common sight around the campground, including so many babies.
The day we left Jasper, we pulled out from our spots at checkout time, but stayed in the parking lot as the dads finished work. Then we headed to our next spot, Dawson's Creek, crossing into British Columbia on the way. We stayed here for 2 nights, and the day in between was my birthday. While here, we visited the start of the Alaska Highway sign, as well as explored a pioneer village right next to the campground. That evening, we had a little 16th birthday celebration, an ice cream sundae bar. I'm so grateful I had friends to share my birthday with. The next day, we were on the road again and stayed in Fort Nelson that night. For dinner, we went to an A&W with the Kleins, which was super fun. Sadly, they were not selling root beer floats yet, but they did have a good root beer shake. We continued driving the next day, passing by some beautiful scenery, including a gorgeous teal lake. We also drove past a ton of wildlife all throughout Canada, including herds of wood bison, numerous black bears, and even a few grizzlies, including a mama and her two babies. Western Canada is absolutely stunning, and it was such an amazing experience to drive through and see so many pristine landscapes. We stopped during this drive to get some delicious cinnamon rolls at Testa River Lodge before continuing on to our next overnight, Liard Hot Springs. This site had no hookups, but was in a very pretty area. The best part, though, was being less than a mile to the hot springs, which our group enjoyed thoroughly. Liard Hot Springs is a beautiful natural hot spring, and is the second largest in Canada. It was so much fun to explore and soak in.
Perhaps one of the most unique roadside stops, the Watson Lake Signpost Forest was well worthwhile. We stopped on our way to Whitehorse to explore the maze of signposts. Started in 1942, it is the oldest and most extensive signpost forest. For over 80 years, travelers have left their mark while passing through, including some of our friends who sent us on a hunt to find their sign. We did not leave one, but we had lots of fun reading a large assortment of signs. We also had to stop at a second cinnamon roll spot for a little friendly contest, but we decided the first was definitely better. We got through a long drive day and made it 400 miles to Whitehorse. The campground turned out to be quite a squeeze, but good thing we like our neighbors. One thing we did in Whitehorse was ride a historic trolley on its first day of the season. It was about 15 minutes each way along the riverfront. The guide told us all about the history of downtown Whitehorse. Then we went inside the McBride Museum, where they had history from different eras on each floor. From native animal displays to the work on the Alaska Highway during World War II, there was so much to learn. But our favorite part may have just been the can-can dancer costumes and the stage, to imagine what working in a Gold Rush era saloon would have been like.
You guys will definitely get a gig.
After 3 nights in Whitehorse, we moved about 3 hours to a pull-off right next to Cluane Lake. Our fourth family met us there and joined the caravan, but lovely views of the water offset some of the RV troubles we had there. Our front right jack stopped working, which resulted in a tedious temporary solution. We moved the next day, 3 hours to a pull-off in Beaver Creek. The roads got pretty poor quality during these drives. The stop was right next to the Alaska border, and we ended up leaving the trailer hitched to the truck for the first time overnight, due to the jack problems.
We started a new area on our rig for our Canada and Alaska stickers.
Our travel through Canada was pleasant, though sparse. RV campgrounds were about $30 to $35 a night as compared to $50 to $100 a night in the US. I was really impressed by the road conditions, price of fuel about $1 cheaper per gallon than in the US, and food also about 30% cheaper in such remote areas. The roads deteriorated around 200 miles before the Alaskan border. While the adults worked during the day, we did a few activities, but our main focus was traveling a couple hundred miles most days. We were lucky to find a town or two along the way. Typically, all it had was a gas station, so no opportunities to taste the local cuisine beyond cinnamon rolls.
We did some crazy driving.
and saw some amazing things along the way.
We'll see you next time on Riley's on the Road.
Bye!